Welcome to From This Day Forward, a wedding industry podcast. My name's James Clarke, your host and wedding photographer behind Just James Weddings. This is a space for real conversations with couples, photographers and wedding suppliers, exploring what truly matters on a wedding day and how meaningful images can be created. Without further ado, let's jump on into the next episode. Hey, and welcome back to From This Day Forward, a wedding industry podcast. Today's a very exciting episode because we've got quite a bit to talk about, actually. And it's also episode 10. I can't believe we're actually at episode 10 already, which is just crazy. Today we're going to be talking about all things wedding celebrants. We're going to also potentially, or hopefully, talk about running a wedding industry podcast too. And then we might actually talk about a little bit of things that have been happening behind the scenes as well with Instagram and all things, which you're going to love now. We might not get to that point. But anyway, I'd love to warmly welcome to the show today, Laura Crockett. So welcome, Laura.
Hi, James. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, sorry, I tried to keep quiet in that bit, but when you mentioned Instagram, I just had to give out the because, it's not the one. But that's a story for later on in the podcast, maybe.
Touch wood, it never happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I can imagine it's a massive ball ache. But welcome.
I'm in Instagram jail, but we can talk about it later. Yeah. But no, positive things. It's lovely to be here, James. Thank you so much for having me.
And obviously, being a podcaster yourself, you've obviously got a very official microphone.
Yes.
And the lighting's amazing. You've got your banner behind you.
Oh, bless you. Although it's backwards, isn't it, my banner?
Yeah, it's backwards showing for me anyway, yeah. If you can see it in the corner, if you're watching on YouTube, yeah, you can see it's back. It's not back to front for Laura, but it's back to front for us.
Yeah, the thought was there.
Yeah, so if you can figure it out, leave a comment down below, right? We've got the same microphone, we've got the same squeaky chairs, and we're ready to go. So awesome. And we'll get to podcasting in a bit, but let's talk about wedding celebrant. How do we even say it? Wedding celebrancy?
Celebrancy, yeah.
Is that a word?
Yeah, you get it all, and you get the amount of times that people have asked me, celibate, is it that? You're celibate. And I'm like, no, I'm a mum of 2. It's definitely not celibate, it's celebrant. But yeah, you get asked all the questions and all the dad jokes at the weddings.
I bet. And for me, I get that as well. Oh, you're just here to press a button, aren't you?
Yeah, that's exactly.
The big I get.
Yeah, that's all we do. Yeah, it's the same with us. Oh, you rock up for half an hour, talk for a bit, and then off you go again. It's like, yeah, of course, that's all that's involved.
To be fair, some days I wish I was just doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was talking to a photographer the other day, and they were like, when they get booked as a associate shooter, is that what it's called, where they go and just take the photos and then the other photographer edits? And she was like, it's literally a dream. That's the best part of the job.
Yeah, either you're an associate or you're a second shooter, because you can either just hand back the SD cards at the end of the day to your primary photographer, or you can just go, right, I'm just going to send them all online. Bosh, done.
Absolutely. Oh, that must be a dream. Yeah, you get to do the fun stuff without the editing.
Although to say that though, I do like the editing part because it is half the job, and actually being able to put story together from a whole day is just quite nice.
That's the same with us. It's the script writing for us. So I always, when I'm talking to photographers, I kind of compare that, because our script writing makes up so much of the job. Probably more like 50-60% of the job is writing the script. And you think, the amount of time and effort that goes into that, but you know that what you're writing is going to be what you deliver on the day, and that's going to make all the difference. So it is. It's like you say, it's definitely a big part of the job, isn't it? But it's not all about what we just rock up and do on the day.
So a lot of your job is beforehand, whereas a lot of our job's like post wedding. That's cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, your editing season comes after the weddings. Our writing season comes before. So this time of year, we're in the thick of writing season ahead of a summer full of weddings, really.
Is it? That's crazy. Whereas we get to October and then we're still editing by Christmas.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. No. See, by the end of season, that's where we can switch off a little bit for a couple of months, and then it all starts again in the new year.
Lucky. So what actually got you into being a wedding celebrant in the first place?
So we got married ourselves in 2017, me and my husband. So it'll be 9 years in July.
Same as us.
And after, is that when you got married?
Yeah. And Lee, who I had on last episode, he got married the same year as well. So it was crazy.
It's a great year. It's a great year to get married. But 2017. And then after we got married, I was kind of like, oh my God, that can't be it. I can't be done with weddings. That was so great. I actually loved it. I wasn't one of these, brides that got really stressed out by it. I think my husband really, got really stuck in with the planning, and he really enjoyed
cool.
planning as well. So it was, oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was just saying
sorry,
it's cool
sorry.
that your husband got involved too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he absolutely loved it. He was very hands-on, and made a lot of decisions. Yeah,
Cool.
he was quite opinionated with his decisions and things. So it was really good because it did really feel like a joint effort.
Yep.
But also we had a 2-year engagement, so I think that made the difference. I think it made it quite fun. Like, it wasn't like stressful because we had to rush it all. We took, a bit of time to plan it. But yeah, once we'd got married ourselves, it was then like, oh my God, that can't be it. I want to still work in weddings. And at the time I was working in radio. So I was a radio presenter before I became a celebrant. And I was working in radio and loved it. But the thing was, I am always one of these people that likes to be busy. I like to keep busy. And I used to go and do my radio show. It was a breakfast show, so it was 6 till 10. We'd come off air, we'd do our editing and, bits for the next day. And we'd kind of be done by about midday.
Yep.
So I'd be getting home at 1 in the afternoon and be like, I've got my afternoons free. What can I do? And that's when this kind of idea started of, well, why don't I retrain in something in the wedding industry?
Yep.
Because also looking forward to the future, at that time we were then thinking, oh, well, one day we're going to want to have children. And I was like, I don't know how sustainable doing a breakfast show is going to be when we've got kids, because, starting work at 5 a.m. when you're already up in the night.
Wake up?
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of like the alarm would go off at 4 and I'd, get ready and then be at work for 5.
Yeah.
So I just thought, right, well, what can I do? And I remember having a conversation with my friend, and she was like, well, there's always going to be work in weddings, babies and dogs. They were the 3 things that she said. So we were like, okay, dog grooming. Could I do dog grooming? And we had this big idea that my dad had a camper van at the time. And I was like, yeah, we could convert that and be a dog groomer. And I was like, love dogs, but I don't know if I'd be good enough at the actual grooming side of it. Then it was it was weddings and babies. And I was like, right, okay. So I started doing some research into, roles in the wedding industry. Photography has never, ever been my thing. I'm rubbish at taking photos. So I was like, that's definitely out. I dabbled in a bit of video when I was at uni. So I did a course in radio and TV. So part of that, I learned to do a bit of video editing.
Of course, yeah.
And I enjoyed it, but the editing I found too stressful. Like, the actual shooting it, I was like, I loved it, but the editing, I just found it was too much pressure to, edit these beautiful wedding videos. So I kind of crossed that one off the list. Floristry, I love flowers, but I'm too clumsy. I could never be a florist. I wouldn't be good enough. So I was like, right, what else can I do? And cake as well. I like to make cake, but they never look pretty. They taste nice, but they look awful. Yep. Not really great if you want to make wedding cakes. So I was like, right.
Cake,
yeah, exactly. No, do not, definitely not. So I was like, right, what else could I do? And then I was researching and I came across wedding celebrants, and I was like, oh wow, that sounds exciting, and that sounds like something that would be, right up my street. You get to, go and meet with couples and talk to them and find out their story and really get to know them and make it personal. And then obviously the actual delivering a ceremony on the day, I was used to that with radio and hosting live events and things like that, so I got the experience in actual live events, which really, let's face it, a wedding is a live event. So I was kind of like, that sounds perfect. And I remember having conversations at the time with different people and telling them what I was going to do, including my own husband. And his words, I remember, gave me that fire in the belly to prove him wrong, because he actually said to me, well, hang on, if you're going to be a celebrant, you're not going to be able to do the legal bit. So what's the point? Are people actually going to want it? And I was like, right, you watch. And then now, 6 years later, it's now become my full-time job. I started originally doing it alongside radio. And then when we had our first little boy, I was like, right, that's it. I'm going for it now. And now 6 years later, it's full-time. And I love it. I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. I feel like I've kind of found my calling.
That's good. And you probably just love the opportunity to chat, I'd imagine.
What gives you that idea, James? I'm very shy.
So you touched on it briefly there about registries and stuff like that. So what? Yeah. For people that don't know, what is the biggest difference then between having a registry office wedding or a church wedding compared to being a wedding or having a wedding celebrant at your wedding? Yeah.
So a registrar will come and deliver a ceremony that is pre-written. It's a script that they've already got that's, a very legal and very formal ceremony. And that's been written by the council and the registrars, the team of them. It's one set script. Now, there will be parts in there that you can, change. You can have a multiple choice for your vows. You can, make a few selections, I guess. They kind of give you 3 choices of wording that you can choose, but the whole thing feels quite formal, quite traditional, and the script is pre-written, so there's not really a lot of flexibility. And also it can be quite a lot shorter. So we actually at the time, shock horror, had a registrar because, again, I hadn't discovered celebrancy yet. So our wedding video is 17 minutes long of the wedding ceremony, which to me just, I can't believe your wedding day only, just over a quarter of an hour is dedicated to the actual ceremony. So that's the kind of a registrar-led ceremony. They serve a purpose. They're great for people who perhaps just want something quite straightforward, quite simple, people who want something a bit more traditional, a bit more formal. Then obviously church wedding is great if you're religious, and don't get me wrong, I love a church wedding. I think they're absolutely beautiful, and the pictures that you can get from in a church, it's just such a stunning setting. I actually think I've been to some church weddings and I love, I was going to say that's from a non-photographer saying that. Would you disagree, James?
Yeah, probably.
Is the lighting great in a church?
Debatable.
Depends which church, I guess. I'm picturing cathedrals. I'm thinking of Westminster Abbey.
Yeah, what we need to do is reinvent churches and put a glass roof on the top.
I like it. Yeah, that's a good idea. Go around and make some orangeries instead. But yeah, so obviously a church wedding is great if you're religious, if you're a religious couple. But actually, with a celebrant, we write the script for you. So it's written from scratch and it actually reflects you as a person and you as a couple. So for example, if you are religious, but maybe you've both got different religions, we can reflect that in the ceremony, because I'm what's called an independent celebrant. So you get 2 types of celebrants. You have humanist celebrants and then you have independent celebrants. So humanist celebrants obviously follow the humanist belief system, and independent celebrants don't follow a belief system. So it's completely up to our couples. And that's why I chose that path, because to me, I was Christian Catholic as a kid. I went to church till I was about 7, and then that was kind of it. But actually that part of my life could have been really important to my dad, that was still recognised, and he wanted to include a bit of that in the ceremony. And with an independent celebrant, you can, because we're not, we don't belong to any belief group. So you can kind of incorporate your beliefs and your religions. I've done plenty of multi-faith weddings where, I've had perhaps a Hindu bride before and a Christian groom or things like that. It means that actually what we offer can reflect you as a couple in your belief. So yeah, so that's kind of the difference with a celebrant. It's completely personal. The script is written for you. And I think the main thing for me that's so important is you choose the person. The same way you choose all your other suppliers, you get to actually choose the person who's going to come on your wedding day and deliver that wedding ceremony. But not just that, the person that's going to be there with you in the run up. So we kind of become mini ceremony planners. So we're there literally to hold your hand through it all. Like, this is the first time, hopefully, or, second time that you've done this. You might not really know what you're doing, whereas we're very experienced in helping you create a ceremony that really reflects you. So I think that, to me, is something that is so important about being a celebrant, that I actually really get to know my couples and can put them at ease if they're feeling a bit nervous, because it then becomes that, we're friends by the wedding day and it's like a familiar face. Same with you, really, James. They're going to be spending the whole day with you. Yeah. So it's important to create that relationship, and that's definitely what I do with my couples. Do you meet
up with couples quite a bit then?
Yeah, so we always, as part of the process, so normally at the beginning, we'll have a call like this on Zoom. That's how we'll catch up. But then after that, we have a ceremony planning meeting. So this is normally once they've done their questionnaire and they've kind of got a little bit of an idea what's going to be going on. We then get together in person to go through that. And I quite often like to do this at the venue if we can, because we'll go and do a site visit at the venue, and then we can actually be in that ceremony space and we can visualize how it's going to look. I can give the couple loads of options about, where they want to stand, where they want their guests to be, whether they want to stand or sit down, whether, where their VIPs are going to be stood, where the readers will be, where I'll be. It gives them chance to actually be able to see the ceremony and kind of feel it come to life a bit more. So we normally do that, and then we head to a pub. I always find that is the best way to catch up. So once we've done that, we then head down the pub, or we go for a coffee, or, dog walk, whatever my couple want to do. And that's where we sit down and we go through everything together and become friends. And I think that's why it's so important when you are having a celebrant that you make sure you choose somebody that you want to hang out with, because actually we do want to hang out with you, but also we get quite nosy because we want to know all the, you know, story behind your relationship, so we can use that to write the ceremony. So yeah, once we get down the pub, and normally once, you know, you've got a couple of drinks down you, that's where I get all the juicy stories that I can use for the ceremony.
What's your favourite tipple then?
Oh gosh, for me, I quite like a glass of wine nowadays. It used to be a gin and tonic. If it's a summer planning meeting, definitely an Aperol. I'm definitely an Aperol girl. But yeah, I just quite like a nice glass of wine for me. That'll do me.
I love it when a bride takes an Aperol spritz onto the dance floor. It makes awesome photos, just because it's just not like pure red.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. The colour, I bet, that orange is beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, cool. It's such a fun. It does look fun, and it makes it feel like a summery kind of vibe, doesn't it? An Aperol spritz, definitely.
Do you know what though? I am finding that the more and more bookings I'm taking as a photographer, I'm getting more and more couples choosing celebrants. Yeah, which is great for you to hear.
Yeah, it's lovely. I think that is the. Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, it's fine. I'm just saying, like, it's obviously becoming more of a conscious decision. So, what do you think? Why do you think couples are going for like celebrants more over registry? Is it
absolutely?
Is it the personalisation? I mean, that's probably like the biggest thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think the good thing is, like, when I first started, I remember going to, you know, wedding fairs, open days, and I would spend probably 8 out of 10 conversations explaining what a celebrant is. Yeah. Whereas now I go to wedding fairs and it's maybe 1 in 10 conversations, because people do know now. They're kind of understanding their choices. And I think absolutely, like you say, people are realising that they do actually have a choice when it comes to their ceremony. They don't just have to choose a registrar because that's what the venue said. Like, actually the venue, it starts from the venue really. Once they've booked the venue is saying, have you thought about your ceremony options? You know, you can have a celebrant, you can have a registrar, it's up to you. And people are kind of realising there's more choice. But the other reason I think there's been a massive increase is because there has been an increase in actual celebrants training. So there are more of us who are, you know, now trained celebrants. So actually we're spreading the word more. The more of us that are going and delivering ceremonies, the more people are seeing the ceremonies and realising, actually, wow, I want my ceremony to feel like that. And actually, I don't want my ceremony to feel like all my friends' ceremonies. You know, we always have that year, don't we, where we go to like 10 weddings in 1 year, because it's like when you're a certain age, I feel like mid to late 20s, like everyone gets married the same year. 2017 for us. Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's like, actually, if you're going to 6 or 7 weddings in a year, you don't want all the ceremonies to feel the same. You don't want people switching off. You don't want people sat there like, oh, when does the drinks reception start? This is so boring. You want people on the edge of their seats like, oh, tell me that story, or oh, what's this, or oh, we're getting involved here. Like, you know, there's guest involvement in the celebrant ceremony. And I think that is the difference. I think more people are experiencing these ceremonies and going, wow, that felt so much like them. Yeah. And I had a lady who came up to me last year. This was like the best testimonial I've ever had. I've plastered it everywhere. But she came up to me afterwards and went, that was the best ceremony I've ever been to, including our own. Woo-hoo. And she got married 10 years before. And I was like, I love that.
2017.
That's what you want. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it probably was. That's what you want, though. You want your guests leaving your ceremony and going, wow, that was so them. And like, I'll get people come up to me afterwards and say, oh, well, how do you know them then? How do you know the couple? Like, have you been friends for a while? And I'm like, no, literally, we met last year when they booked me to be their celebrant. And that is how I know that the ceremony has been a reflection of them, when the couple, you know, when their friends and family think that I know them personally, like, other than just being their celebrant, I'm actually friends with them. That's always such a good compliment, because you're like, you know that you've then reflected them, and it has been a true reflection of them in the ceremony.
Definitely. Well, you've obviously done quite a few weddings now, I'm sure, because every wedding is very personal. What's like the most unique thing that you've had to do or seen during a ceremony?
There's so, there's so many different things. Well, it's funny because now it's like some of the ideas that I've seen have then become, you know, more popular. So like the ring lotteries, have you seen obviously the ring lotteries where the celebrant hides the rings under the chairs?
Have you seen that's quite cool.
Yeah. So that, I first did that in 2021, and it was at a ceremony in Ibiza. Ooh. And I invited all the guests to look under their chairs, and I'd never heard of this idea. Actually, the couple came to me with this idea. Yep. And I got asked all the guests to look under their chairs anyway. So then this one guy, he got the rings and he came up to the front. But what I always do in the ring lottery is I say, right, how do you know our couple? Like, are you friends from work? Like, tell us a little bit about how you know them. And he said, I don't actually know them. I'm a +1. I've just come for a holiday to Ibiza. And he'd literally just got this new girlfriend and come with her. I think they'd only been dating a couple of months, but he thought a weekend in Ibiza sounded good fun. But I feel like they were really good. And I feel like still they're even good fun now. But I mean, they may be becoming more popular now because, again, more people have seen them.
Yeah.
Let me have a think. I feel like shots is quite, like, I would say still quite unusual. I've had a few couples that have done shots in their ceremonies.
In a ceremony?
Yeah, so like at the end of the ceremony, it's kind of once they've done their kiss, once they've done their vows and their rings, it's when we're wrapping up, we're like, right, let's end the ceremony on a high and let's start the rest of the day. So that's where either just the couple will have shots and we'll get them brought out on a tray and then they'll come and I'll say a few words and it's like they've tied the knot, let's take a shot. So that's where we'll do it. So sometimes it's just them. I did one last summer as well that was down at Orchard Lee House in Bath. And they got all the guests tequila rose. So then everyone did one all together. It was the couple and all of the guests. So yeah, shots in a ceremony is quite fun. Yeah, there's loads of different things. I've got one in a couple of weeks and we're doing a big sing-along halfway through. So we're going to do a surprise sing-along. Yeah, that's going to be really good fun. So all the guests getting involved and, you know, all up on their feet and joining in. I did one last year that we did a sing-along as well with Wonderwall. So yeah, all different things. There's so many different things that you can do. But I think what I really like is all the ideas are unique to each couple.
Yeah.
So last year, one's just come to mind, actually, a really good one that we did. My couple last year absolutely loved their cats. They were like their absolute babies. Like they loved them so much. They were called Eggy and Bee. And what we did is in the ceremony, we played a game of Mr. and Mrs. But with Eggy and Bee. So like basically, yeah, that's it. So all the guests had one. All the guests had the cats. They had one of each.
Oh, like paddles. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And Eggy would represent Suze, the bride.
Yep.
And B would represent Steve, the groom.
Yep.
And what we would do is I would say, right, okay, who's most likely to be first on the dance floor later? And they'd lift the cats up. But it was great because I was working with Mark Horton on this wedding. He was the photographer. And some of the pictures he's got are brilliant because it's just a sea of cats. Like you've just got all the guests, but then a sea of cats above their heads. So, but that idea came about because we were talking in their planning meeting and they were saying how the cats represent them.
Yep.
And they feel like each cat represents each person. So I was like, well, let's use that in the ceremony. Let's bring it in. That's and awesome. You know, incorporate. And it worked really well for them because they are cat people. Everyone knows they're cat people, and each cat does, like I say, represent them. I did one as well a few years ago where the groom was an electrician. And so at the end of the ceremony, we had behind a big tassel banner, we had a big sign that had their new surname on. And so what we did is at the very end of the ceremony, we drew back the curtain, like the banner, the tassels, and there was the big light that had their new surname, and they both turned it on at the end of the ceremony, so it lit up. And this was in the middle of a field, but he managed to rig this up because he's an electrician. So, you know, that was perfect for them because of him being an electrician. So I think there's
cable somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a very long cable, a lot of reel. But there's you know, so many options that you can do to represent you and your partner in your ceremony. And if it feels right for you, that's how we will then weave it in and, you know, create these different experiences within the ceremony that make sure that it really reflects you.
We're giving some brides some awesome ideas here.
Yeah, there's so many.
With it though, with being a wedding celebrant, do you reckon the decision for a lot of people is like a budget thing? Because obviously, you obviously need to probably get married somewhere else beforehand, registry office or whatever. So, is there much of a cost difference? Because obviously, then you have to hire the registrars to come on your day too, if you're doing it the traditional way.
Yeah,
at a church. There's weird costings with church weddings, I feel.
Yeah, like really
extra,
strange.
Bell ringing is an extra.
Yeah, exactly. You have to pay for it all.
Is there much of a costing difference between having someone like yourself and maybe doing it traditionally?
Yeah, so it really depends on the options that you go for. So obviously a registrar, you're paying, you know, £600-800 for them to come out to the venue and do the ceremony at the venue. You're going to be looking at least that, I would say, for a ceremony, for a celebrant. I'm a little bit more because I'm obviously been in the industry for a bit longer, a bit more experience, but it really does depend. I guess an actual celebrant versus a registrar are very similar costings if you're going one or the other. Yeah. If you go for a celebrant, obviously, of course, you do do need to do the legal part separately as well. However, that can be done as little as £50 to £60 at your local registry office. Yeah. So what that's the most so that's the most popular way that my couples do it, because obviously they're using their ceremony budget to pay for me as their celebrant, and then what they do is they go and do the legal signing separately on a different day. So the way that's done is you literally go, just the two of you go with 2 witnesses. So you can either take them, or actually the registry office will provide them if you need them to, and that costs, like I say, I think it was £56 the last time I checked, so it's around £50 to £60. They dictate the times and days, so they'll say, oh yeah, it's a Tuesday at 10 o'clock or whatever, and you just book your appointment and you go along and you do that separately. And a lot of my couples see that as kind of like just the paperwork appointment. You know, when you buy a house, you exchange contracts, that's a legal paperwork day, but then your moving day is your big celebration, the day that you actually get the keys. It's kind of like that. So you go and register the marriage separately. That's your legal paperwork day. One of my brides, bless her, last year called it fountain pen day, because it was the first time she's used a fountain pen in years. So that's really cute. But yeah, so you can go and do that separately. And then it means that your wedding day is your wedding day. You don't have to think about doing both things on one day. However, I do have some couples who do want to do both on one day, whether it be that they've already booked the registrar and then changed their mind further down the line and they want to add a celebrant, or whether it be right from the start that they want to have the registrar there on the same day, so that the legal bit's done on the same day as the wedding ceremony. And so if you're doing that, obviously you do have to pay for both of us, because you've got to pay for the registrars to come out. So basically, if the registrars leave their office, instead of 50 or 60 quid, it's going to cost you, you know, more. 5 to
I've seen it done quite a few different ways. So like there's a venue near Bristol called Folly Farm. Don't know if you've done a wedding there, but they have like an elopement section out in the woods, and it's obviously quite a like environmentally sustainable place. So they go and do the elopement in the woods with a registrar, and then they can come back to the venue and then do something either with a celebrant, or on this case they had just a friend be like an officiant.
Yeah,
as such.
Lovely.
And that's another way people can do it, right? So you can do like the illegal bit somewhere and then have a friend or someone if it's a budget thing.
Absolutely.
Do you think like registrars are having to change their ways a little bit, because obviously knowing that they might be like being outdone by celebrants, do you think they're changing their ways a little bit? I feel like they're a lot more relaxed now, especially from a photography point of view.
Yeah, 100%. I think they are having to, you know, keep up with the times, really. People are seeing their options and realising how personal they can make their ceremonies. So you see quite a lot of registrars now, they've started calling themselves legal celebrants, which makes me laugh, because it makes me think, oh, I'm illegal. I'm a bit of a naughty celebrant, you know, I'm against the law. But no, so you have seen that. But actually what they have started doing is saying, you can make, you know, your ceremony personal. You can have personal parts in your ceremony, which I think can be quite misleading, because when you look on paper, they're trying to not compete. I don't think compete's the right word, because I think there's room for all of us. But I think they're trying to show that they are as flexible. But actually, when you look on paper at the flexibility of a registrar ceremony, it really isn't there. And when they say things like, you can make it personal, I had a couple tell me last year that what that actually meant was, they had to write their own introduction that was a maximum of 500 words. So I then had the couple going on ChatGPT to try and work out how to write an introduction to a wedding ceremony that was personal to them. So I think they're definitely trying to say that it can be personal, but I think you just need to be really careful at what you are and aren't allowed to do, because it's not the same as having a celebrant. A celebrant is writing it for you. We're experienced professionals in what we do. We're experienced at creating ceremonies, whereas going on ChatGPT and asking it to come up with 500 words on how to introduce a wedding ceremony isn't, for me, something that I would want to, have on my wedding day.
Extra, like personal bits as well, don't you? With a registrar, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Exactly. So I think it's great that they are trying to be more flexible, and I've actually worked with a lot of registrars in the past who have been really flexible in terms of having both of us. So I've had some registrars who maybe will come and do the first 5 minutes of the ceremony, they'll do the bare minimum to make it legal, then they'll go and I'll carry on and do the rest. I've done it that way before. I also did one last year in September where the registrars did the interviews before my ceremony. Then my ceremony was 2 till 2:30. That's when I led the ceremony. Then I handed over to the registrars for their ceremony, and they did, just with the couple and their parents, they did 2:30 till like 2:45 just to do the legal bit and the signing once everyone else had gone out for the drinks reception. So there are different ways of doing it. But yeah, you have got to be really careful, because I think, yes, the registrars are trying to create more of a personal offering, but I think it's still not exactly the same when you actually look on paper. And it's also, like I say, you don't get that support. You still don't get to choose the person that's going to be coming on the day.
No, I mean, that's crazy. 50 to 60 quid. Like, if
Yeah,
I
know.
had the choice now, if I was going to get married again, obviously you were inspired by your own wedding. I was inspired by my own wedding as well to become a photographer. It took a few years to get there, but we got there.
Yeah.
But if I did my wedding again, like having done weddings with registrars and celebrants, I would probably, if I knew it was 50, 60 quid, which
Yeah.
a lot of people waiting, I would go celebrant any day.
100%. And I'm the same. You know, I had a registrar, and the most personal part about our ceremony was our sisters both wrote a poem about us from like their point of view. But that was it. That was all. I couldn't tell you anything else about the ceremony that reflected us, really.
Yeah.
I think it was very formal, and even the vows I can't remember, because my husband at the time was like, I don't want to write our vows, let's just do the tick box one. So I would do it completely differently, and don't get me wrong, I'm pushing for a vow renewal next year, so watch this space.
10 years.
For 10 years, yeah, we'll see, so that I can have a celebrant. I've already picked her and booked her.
We're just
my
going to go
friend
on a big
Tara.
holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just going to go on a big holiday, I think, without the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's quite funny. My wedding, I said I do too early, which is quite funny.
Oh, no,
that
love
was
it.
quite a nice icebreaker, because everyone was able
That's
to laugh
good.
then. And then what also made it hilarious was, and it then made the score a level with the registrar, is that she then almost married me off, or my wife off, to my brother. So she got
did
my
that
name wrong. So she.
Oh, stop.
So it was quite funny, because obviously then everyone was laughing. It felt a bit more relaxed. But I also feel like, comparing like celebrant-led weddings, I feel like everyone's then able to like feel like they're like you mentioned earlier, involved, and they can relax. Whereas registry, like you were saying as well, it feels quite mundane, like very sterile. And people are just waiting for the drinks reception, as you said. So yeah, I would choose a celebrant hands down any day. Not that there's anything wrong with registry weddings at all, but it's been awesome to hear about like all the different options as well. But like, what are some of the things that, like, without maybe couples knowing, what are some of the things that couples could include with a ceremony led wedding ceremony?
Yeah. No, it's okay. I know what you mean. With a celebrant-led ceremony, yeah. I know what you mean. Don't worry. So one thing that you said there that I just want to touch on, when you said about the I Do, and you were like, oh, and it meant everyone could relax and laugh. When you think how far into the ceremony the vows are, that most likely people were on edge until that point and hadn't relaxed until that point. I just think, for me, you should be laughing within the first couple of minutes of the ceremony, because you want that relax. And quite often, actually, if I've got somebody walking down the aisle and somebody waiting, when they get to the front, I'll be like, right, okay, I'm relaxed now. Like, just, take a nice exhale and just settle into the moment, because it can feel quite tense, and I don't want it to feel tense. I want my couples to feel relaxed in that space. So I think definitely one thing that you can absolutely have is laughter and fun. We want that from the beginning. We want you and your guests laughing and having a great time. Your ceremony is your guest's first experience of your wedding day, so you want it to feel like you. Literally, the minute they get there, you want them to be like, yes, this is great, this is us. But I guess in terms of options of things that they can include, I guess you mean more like actual things in the ceremony, do you, like elements of the ceremony? So obviously writing your own vows, 100% for me is one of the, I would say, almost go as far as non-negotiables. I think we should all be writing our own vows in ceremonies, because I think that is your one opportunity to stand in front of everyone that you love in the world, but also to be able to actually express what your partner means to you. And it doesn't need to be all formal and romantic. It can be really silly and fun and playful. And if that's you, if you take the piss out of each other a bit, it can be that kind of vibe. But actually, I think writing your own vows is definitely the one thing. But going beyond that, obviously with the celebrant-led ceremony, something that we really, encourage and that a lot of our couples like are symbolic elements.
Yep.
So you can add extra symbolic elements into your ceremony. So obviously we spoke about things like the ring lottery earlier,
Yep.
the games like the Mr. and Mrs. and stuff like that, but things like hand tying. So you might have seen this online where you will have a cord or a ribbon. Yeah, they're beautiful. And that's where you'll get either just the two of you and, your celebrant can wrap the cord or the ribbons around you, but actually what's really nice is to involve your family and friends with that. So if you're having multiple ribbons, you can invite different family and family members and friends to come and lay different ribbons each. You can invite people from school that you love, you can invite people from work, you can invite people that maybe introduced you as a couple, so people that are meaningful to you can come and get involved. You can do that with just one cord, so it could just be one special person can come and do that. And actually what happens is the way we wrap the cords around and we kind of start that hand tying, by the time you actually pull your hands apart, you physically tie the knot there in that space in that ceremony, and that's really special. You can do things like a unity candle, so that's where the two of you would have individual candles that might have been lit by your parents, and that shows kind of your roots and your families then coming together. I've done a wine box ceremony before. That was really nice for a couple who were expecting a baby the following year. And it was the wedding day, and the bride, bless her, had chosen her favourite wine but couldn't drink it because she was like 7 or 8 months pregnant. So what they did in part of the ceremony is we sealed a bottle of that wine in a wooden box, and they also put letters to each other in there, and then we sealed it as part of the ceremony. And then the idea is that they will open that on their anniversary. So if they're really patient, it's their 10-year anniversary. If they're not so much, 5 years. If they really can't wait, 1 year anniversary. In this case, it was going to be their 1 year because she was like, the baby will be here by then and I want to drink this wine. So there's things like that. There's so many different symbolic elements that you can do. You can get your guests involved with all different ways. They can be offering marriage advice. I've done surprise like flash mob style things before in ceremonies where we've got guests standing up and joining in with things. We've had surprise readings, all sorts of different things. You could do all sorts, but I would actually say probably only 20 to 30% of my couples add lots of extra stuff. I think the reason most of my couples book a celebrant is because they want their story told and they want the ceremony to be about them and actually reflect their personality. They might not want all these extra symbolic elements, but they just want it to feel like them, and I think that is the most important thing. So yes, you can add all these extra things like the shots we spoke about earlier. There's loads of different things you can do.
That's a great
way
to start.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's great fun. We'll do that for our next wedding, James. We'll have to get booked on a wedding together and get the shots going. In fact, my one next week we're doing shots at the end. They're doing baby Guinness. But I think that's the thing. It's like there are so many options, but like with all of your wedding planning, it's about working out what feels right for you and what feels relevant for you. And if you don't want to do those extra things, that's okay, because your ceremony can still reflect you and be about you in the words that are spoken. It doesn't have to be all these extra, different things.
I think the telling the story is quite cool one, because there might be guests there that don't have a Scooby, like how you even got together. Like,
absolutely.
I told a bit of a white lie about how my wife and I got to know each other.
Did you?
Yeah. And so actually on the day, in the speeches later on in the day, so not the ceremony, but it was then quite cool to actually explain how we actually met. But I've seen other people, so like not celebrant led, but like officiant led, so like a friend, where the couple were like quite keen gardeners, and so they actually planted a tree.
Absolutely,
in their ceremony,
yes, a great
which is quite cool.
Yeah, a really good one.
They put the quite a young sapling into a pot, and then they filled it with soil, and then they watered it. That was quite cool.
Absolutely, and that's one that we did at a ceremony a few years ago, and my bride was from Canada, and the groom was from the UK, and what they did, they planted a maple tree to represent her Canadian roots. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was some sort of English version of a maple tree. But it was, so they had that planted, but also what they did is the soil that they used was from different places that were meaningful to them. So they had a jar of soil from where she grew up that her mum and dad brought over. I don't know if they should have done, so I'm not going to name any names, but they brought that over. I'm sure there'll be some sort of rule with flying with soil in your suitcase.
New Zealand in particular.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, it wasn't New Zealand,
all
so
the
we
Pacific
might be okay.
Island. Is it mainly the Pacific bits? I only know this because I used to live out that way. But
we're okay then. It was Canada.
it's
We're
not
all right.
flexing,
We're
not
all right.
flexing, but yeah.
But then he had soil from his childhood home, so
Yep.
they put that in. Then they had sand from the beach where they got engaged, so they put that in. Then they had soil from their first home that they bought together and that
Nice.
they were going to be moving into, like, you know, around the wedding. So all these different things. And then they finished it off with soil from the venue. So all of that was put in that pot. And then that pot then was full of soil that goes across, you know, from their story. So I think that's the thing, that it's all these different things that actually, when they're relevant to you, they just feel so right. And actually, if you think on paper, oh, I don't know if a tree planting's very me, when you explain it like that, you think, oh my God, that's like beautiful. And then now they've got that tree in their garden.
Just
They
hopefully
planted it
not
in their
soil
garden.
where the sausage was planted the night before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for the nice weather.
But if you don't know, there's a I don't know whether it's a myth or
Old wives' tale. Yeah.
If you think the wedding's going to be rainy, you just plant a sausage the night before, and I don't know if it comes true, but
I think it
more-
works. There were a lot of
Yeah.
sausages being planted last year, and it was hot.
Have you heard about the Etsy witch?
Yes,
What
and I
is
keep
this?
thinking I'm going to set myself up as an Etsy witch
Etsy
and
witch,
make
might
a
as well.
fortune.
Yeah.
It's like pay the Etsy witch, isn't it, for
Pay
good
the Etsy
weather?
witch for good weather. Like, I've only just heard about it the last few weeks, and it's just like,
How
what?
does one go about becoming an Etsy witch? Because I think that might be the next career for me.
I live too close to Glastonbury. Like, I'm sure there's a few Etsy witches that are
Oh,
from there.
absolutely. Yeah, one of my friends in the wedding industry, she does loads of hand tyings there and festival weddings at Glastonbury. Yeah, it's really cool. It's a cool place to live, and at Stonehenge and everything like that as well.
Do you know, it's quite weird. Like, there's some really nice venues near me. I don't know if you've done weddings at them. Pennard House.
Oh no, I haven't. I've seen it. I've not
Seen
done one
it.
there yet.
It's
No, I'm a
stunning.
bit further
And then
north
there's
than you.
one literally on top of the Glastonbury wedding site, and I think they actually, for Glastonbury wedding, they use a lot of the yurts and stuff for like people to stay in. But it's like
Cool.
Pennard Hill Farm, but like they're only like 10, 15 minutes away from me, and it's like such a hard venue to get.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's just so
It's
weird.
so annoying, isn't it? There's one near me that I absolutely love, Lapstone, but I'm
Yeah.
yet to do a wedding there. I've had so many
really?
inquiries for there, but they're always on days I'm already
Already
booked.
booked.
But it's literally 15 minutes from my house, and it's like, I want to come and do weddings there. I love it.
Yeah. Before we get into like your own podcasting,
Yeah,
and maybe
yeah.
the Instagram, but one thing I keep forgetting to kind of mention to some of the suppliers I've spoken to, but mainly because they are like suppliers that I don't really deal with too much on the day. So like dresses, I mean, I deal with the
Yeah.
dress, but I don't necessarily deal with the actual supplier on the day. But how can like you've obviously mentioned a photographer earlier with the Mr. and Mrs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cat. How can photographers work with celebrants better on a wedding day, or vice
Oh,
versa?
It's such a good relationship to have, I think, the photographers and the celebrants. So what I like to do is reach out to photographers before the wedding. So I'll normally do that either on Instagram or on email, depending on what feels right for each photographer. Normally on Instagram, we just have a quick chat just to say, just to introduce myself. I'm, the celebrant for the wedding at the weekend. And then I'll let them know if we've got any special things planned. So whether it be quite a
good to know.
straightforward ceremony or whether we've got extra things, I'll always let them know. And then on the day, because I know what it's like, photographers especially, you do so many weddings, on the day I'll remind them again and just kind of say, just so you know, we're doing this, we're doing that. But I'll also make sure that we have a chat about kind of the choreography of the ceremony. So I'll let them know where the couple are planning to stand, if they're going to be sitting at any point. We'll talk about where readers will be. I'll ask them which way they want me to move for the kiss, things like that, because getting out the way for the kiss is very important. And I think if I know that the photographers are going to be stood here and shooting, I don't want to be going that way straight into their camera. So, we'll discuss things like that beforehand. I think really just open communication, I think. And as you may have noticed, James, I am a chatterbox. I'll always come and introduce myself beforehand and come and say hi. Like, we'll go through the ceremony together. We'll make sure that actually those photos are going to be perfect for the couple because we've got that good relationship. And like, even last year, I had a couple that it was at Thorpe Garden, which is one of the Crips group up in Tamworth, and it was a beautiful wedding. And they kissed, but then the photographer said to me afterwards, oh, can you get them to kiss again before they leave, because
miss it,
like the lighting wasn't quite right, or there was something that had happened in that moment. I was like, absolutely, of course. So after they'd done their symbolic certificate, which you can do as well in the celebrant ceremony, if you want to do a certificate signing, you can absolutely still do that. So they'd done that. We'd spoken about the kiss in that moment while they were signing. So then I got them back to the centre and I was like, right, come on everyone, let's get them to, you know, give us one more kiss. I reckon if we cheer loud enough, we'll get them to kiss again. And that then meant that the photographer had got that next chance to really nail that shot, because whatever had happened the first time, it hadn't gone to plan. So it's things like that, because we've got that communication. And I will always say, like, at the start of the ceremony, yes, I'll stand in the centre to welcome everyone.
Yep.
But then once the music starts and the couple, if somebody's walking down the aisle, that kind of thing, I'll move out the way, because actually that bit isn't about me. I don't need to be in the middle for that bit. If I stand out the way, the photographer's got really clear shots of the aisle, then I can then come back to the centre once the couple are in position, because obviously sometimes they need that bit of guidance.
Yeah.
But actually, if we can get that open communication and work together, I think let's do it, because actually at the end of the day, those photos are what are going to be on the walls of the house for years to come. Like, you want them to nail it. And if we've got that communication going, like just the little signals, or, you know, looking at each other. I remember a fantastic videographer last year at Talkworth Court, and I was looking at her and there was this beautiful arch behind me, but it was like, you know, and it was so symmetrical.
Yep.
If any of us were off centre, it would have looked so dodgy. And she was stood right at the back.
Yep.
And she was going like this to me. So I was like moving, and then I was like getting the couple to move. And I think just that communication, like, they're little subtle things that we can do as your supplier team to make sure that we're getting the best out of that ceremony for you. But actually no one else is really going to know, because we're just like discreetly communicating with each other. But yeah, 100% communication
it's
for me.
one of those things that I was frogged in my throat. Perfect timing. One of those things I find more and more now as I get more and more experience, actually, how much that symmetricalness.
Oh yes,
I'm finding new words today. Actually really,
symmetry.
Yeah,
symmetricalness. I like that.
I'm playing with hay fever as well. I'm starting to get tree pollen.
Do not worry, you're all good.
My eyes, so
oh,
if you see me
no.
rubbing my eyes, it's probably is.
Get this guy an antihistamine pronto.
Jeez, it's the worst part of the year. But yeah, that symmetry is like something that I kind of like. You feel like really bad as a photographer trying to like nudge in and just say, "Do you mind like
moving that way a little bit?" Yeah,
I went to a venue recently actually, and the venue. He come from TV production, so similar to you from like radio, but he'd put like actual markers on the floor, which you obviously can't see on photos.
Yeah,
but at least then the couples actually know where to stand.
It's a great idea.
And
Such
kind
a
of
great
like
idea.
remind themselves of where they need to stand, which to anyone else they wouldn't have a clue, but for the couple and stuff, and he's got that in mind for the photographer, which is quite cool.
This is what I think though. What couples and, you know, suppliers and that need to remember. It's not a performance. No. Your ceremony isn't a show. It doesn't all need to be perfect and like perfectly choreographed. Actually, if it feels like in that moment that you're not quite comfortable, or you don't feel like you stood in the right place, or if I know that afterwards, if I get you to move a little bit to the right, you know you're going to love it for these photos, because when you look back, you're not going to go, oh, we're off centre there, I don't really want to put that one up on the wall. I'll say to my couple, look, can I just ask you to move that way a tiny bit? Like, it's not like they have to be on, you know, actor mode the whole time. It isn't like that. Like, it's not a show. It's actually you celebrating your love with all the people that love you, and it should feel relaxed. And I think that's the thing. You want it to feel relaxed. So if I say, look, can you just shuffle over that way slightly? They'll be fine, because then they'll know that the photos are going to look beautiful afterwards. So yeah, I think, and like you say with the TV production, that is brilliant. There's a venue near me, Mickleton Hills Farm, and they're the guy used to be in theatre, and it's very similar. He's thought about everything, and the audio in that ceremony room is incredible. They've got a microphone that hangs from the ceiling, but it's far enough above your head that you wouldn't see it in any photos, but it's a strong enough mic that it picks everything up. And it just means then you've got that quality of sound for the people sat at the back, but still it feels very natural because you're not stood there with microphones.
I do like venues when they think of everything though, because like
me too.
When you got someone at the back that can't hear at all, it's just like you just know that their experience of the day is like
rubbish.
Yeah,
because they're in the cheap seats at the back. That's not what they wanted.
Nosebleeds, exactly. But they might have a ring under their chair, so you never know.
True. Then we get them involved.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes up for the bad sound.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely, I love celebrant weddings. To be fair, and I've got so many more this year. So
absolutely.
Let's see more of them, hopefully.
Yes, 100%. I'm here for that.
And it's great. It's great advice for couples today as well, which has been fantastic.
Good.
Is that a tash? Is that a ink and lace picture behind you, or is that another illustrator?
Oh, yes, it is.
You'll like this
is.
segue. So you had Tasha
She is.
on your podcast recently. I've got her coming on to this podcast coming up soon.
Lovely. And you think I can talk? Tasha's the same, James.
Really? I've met her in person a few times because she helps out a wedding shop, wedding dress shop down the road, and I bumped into her recently and I didn't expect to see her there, and I was like, okay. But yeah, and obviously you had her on your show. I've got her on my show coming up as well, which is really cool. So let's segue and move into, you'll like this. You'll like this.
I love it. It's very good. Loving the segue.
We'll talk about your podcast a little bit. So obviously you do it with Katie.
Yes, I do.
Who is oh my god, it's hair, right?
Yes, bridal hairstylist.
Yeah, bridal hairstylist. So how did you come about actually? So I will explain. Your podcast is called I Do and Updos, and it's the inspiration behind me doing this podcast.
Yes.
Which I
love that, James. So sweet.
I got the bug.
We loved our little shout out in your first episode. It was very cute.
Oh, you listened. Thank you.
Yeah, I did listen. Of course I did.
But yeah, how did it all start? Because everyone's got different stories to how things start, haven't they?
Absolutely. So Katie and I met at, do you know Kellyanne Wedding? She's a wedding planner.
I don't.
So
I might have done actually. Did they run a venue? I can't remember.
Yeah, no, she doesn't run a venue, but she does run an event called Brides and Bubbles, which is massive. And she's done talks at the wedding show. Like, she's incredible. She's a brilliant planner. And she did an event called Brides and Bubbles that was down at a venue in Gloucester. And Katie and I were both there as suppliers. So the idea is that the people come along, and then as well as it being like a bit of a wedding fair, they also get to sit down and have brunch and afternoon tea. And then we will come up as suppliers and do different talks for them. So it's like an educational hen party, she calls it. It's brilliant. But while we were there, Katie and I met and we got chatting, as you do. And I was talking to her about, me chatting. You can't believe it, can you? But we were talking about what we used to do before. And I said, I used to work in radio. And then she said, oh my God, I've always wanted to do a podcast. And I was like, let's do it. Let's make it happen. And I'd only met Katie this day, but Katie is one of these people that comes into your life and she is a doer. So she gets things done. Like, literally, we met in the afternoon. By, after an hour or two, we'd got the name for the podcast all sorted. A few days later, she'd done a logo. Like, she's on it. She's very good. She's very type A and I'm very type B. So we work well together. But then I knew somebody who could host us and, as a podcast producer, I could go and speak to him about doing the podcast there. So we started it. The idea started in October 2024. We launched in January last year. And then, we've just celebrated our first birthday. So we're into season 4 now. But we're absolutely loving it. It's brilliant. Well, we're recording season 4. We're actually going out at the moment is season 3, because as James and I spoke about earlier off air, when you're running a podcast, but you're also trying to keep up with wedding season, it can be quite a lot. But we're on to season 3 now. We've got some fantastic guests, like say Tasha at Ink and Lace. But what really the idea behind it, what Katie wanted to achieve was to showcase unique wedding suppliers, so people that were a little bit different. But also what we wanted is we wanted a platform for suppliers to be able to come on and give advice to couples themselves, rather than Katie and I being like, oh, this is what you need to think about for a live illustrator. We don't know the ins and outs. We know a little bit from our experience, but instead, why not get Tasha on and she can actually give the advice? So that's the whole kind of idea behind the podcast, that we have a different guest on each week and they are the expert in their field and they are sharing all this advice for the couples. So we have loads of different wedding suppliers and it's really good fun. We've definitely got some really people that are, really unique and different ideas. So it kind of started from that, really. That's how we got into it.
I loved it when I came on the show. I didn't know where I was going, to be fair, because it was just a load of old chicken sheds, isn't it?
That's really it. We've moved now. You'll have to come again. We've got a new fancy studio now with proper toilets in Cheltenham. It's really nice. Our old one, bless him. James, he had to turn up and it was an old chicken shed. And you'd go in and it was like Narnia. You'd walk in, you'd be like, oh my God, it's actually a studio in here. But there were dodgy toilets around the back, weren't there? So this one is much nicer, full cafe, everything. It's very fancy now. So we've had a bit of a glow up. Yeah.
What I want to know is actually how long the Haribo lasted.
Yeah. Not very long. No, it never does on our show. Yeah, we loved that, James. Thank you. And then I also do another industry podcast, which is more just for celebrants. So that's called Beyond the Ceremony. And that is one where we focus on all just different areas of celebrancy. So I do have the podcasting bug, definitely.
That's your radio-ness coming through there, plugging things left and right.
It is nice that I still get to do a bit of it. Yeah, definitely.
Wedding Whispers is quite a cool thing because you obviously get different stories coming in. I don't actually have any segments on this. I throw in a segment now and again, depending on who's on the show. But Wedding Whispers is quite a cool one.
Yeah.
I think I sent in one a while back.
Oh, yeah, these are good. Yeah, so for people who haven't heard it yet, Wedding Whispers is like the tea, where we get the tea and the gossip from the wedding day. So it can be, previous couples send them in, guests at weddings or suppliers, but they're all just like juicy stories from wedding days. And yeah, we've had a lot of great stories on that. It is always a good feature.
Anything come to mind?
Something with a chaise lounge, very scandalous. Yes, there was some activity, shall we say, going on a chaise lounge. But yeah, it's really good fun. It's always, I never know what's going to happen because Katie is the one who gets the stories, so they're always, I hear them the same time as you hear them as listeners, and it's really great fun because we never know what's going to happen. Some of them have been like the dress, got to the wedding day and the dress was ripped, things like that.
Oh, really?
And then some of them have been stories like that. And then some of them have been members of the bridal party going off with one member of the couple. And I think that might have been the chaise lounge story. But yeah, I'll leave that to everyone's imagination if they want to go and listen.
Luckily, touch wood.
We did do one actually. Katie did a season special where we put together all the Wedding Whispers. So there is one episode that you can get just on wherever you get your podcasts. It's just the Wedding Whispers. So if you just want to come for the gossip, you're not bothered about the planning tips, then go and listen to that one. It's a good episode. Yeah.
I've luckily never had a wedding so far that's either had a fight or someone go off with someone else, and then
no scandal.
Yeah. So I'm touching wood. Exactly.
We'll see what happens.
That's cool. And what makes your podcast work? I mean, I saw someone. I know you've had some like guests on that have like they think about inclusivity. Another new word for me.
Yeah, inclusivity.
Oh my god, I think it's the hay fever. I don't know what I'm saying.
I think it is. We'll blame that. It's making you drowsy.
There was a photographer I saw on Instagram the other day, and I might have to find it so I can send you the photography your way. But talking about inclusivity, and are there actually any podcasts out there that include people that think about everybody in the market or in the industry? So, what do you think makes your podcast work? Because I love listening to it, albeit not very often, but when I tune in, I do love it.
That's definitely one of the things that we look for in the guests that we have on, that they are fully inclusive. So absolutely, that is something to us that is so important, and making sure that, we're targeting couples. We're not targeting brides and grooms. We are for couples, for anyone. And actually, I think that is so important because it is a scary place to be in the wedding industry. And I think even I think we can all learn all the time, and education is so important that we can all be educating ourselves. And there are certain things like Katie, I know, had quite a difficult, situation last year because she does tend to deal with brides because she's a hairstylist. It tends to be quite often that she's a bridal hairstylist, and she was like, actually, I feel like this really, my website's not reflecting the inclusive side of my business. So she went through and, did some education and made sure that she was, rewording on her website that it's not just for brides, actually it's for anyone who's getting married. And it's, things like that. I think there's so much more that we can all do as suppliers to make sure that we are being inclusive. But I think definitely in terms of the podcast, that is something that we really make sure that all of our suppliers are inclusive suppliers, because that's what we all want. And actually, if we are all working together like that, it's going to make the industry better. So yeah, definitely, I think that's something that's really, really important for us to do. But I do think education is so important to always make sure that we are, working towards that.
It has just reminded me to make sure I send the right questionnaire to a couple soon, because it's just everything. Like obviously you got big LGBTQ plus community, and it's about the language that you use at different points as well in your communication, and just making sure that that sits well.
Absolutely.
It is massive, and I make sure that I try and do that at all points as well. Even with questionnaire that is normally bride, groom, contact details or whatever. It's just changing that.
But my questionnaires will say person 1, person 2
instead of. Okay,
and then it will say pronouns. What are your pronouns? So I'm asking, what pronouns my couple want me to use.
Yeah.
Do you want me to, like, what would you like to be known as? Do you want to be called a bride? Do you want to be called something else? Like, I think it's so important for us to lead the way. And like, it's wedding party. It's not bridal party. It's not groom's party. It's your wedding party, because actually it's so different nowadays. Everyone has people in their wedding party. They don't just have bridesmaids anymore. You don't just have groomsmen. It's all completely different. So I think that is definitely somewhere that we can start making sure that our language when we're talking to our couples is really inclusive. And actually, even couples can get you in a bit of trouble, because I know an incredible celebrant last year who did a ceremony for a throuple. And there was 3 of them. So, actually that for me is something that I can work on, because I always talk about couples, because I don't want to talk about brides and grooms, or just grooms and grooms, or just brides and brides, because I have so many different people. So actually I always say couples, but actually, like I say, now thruples is a thing too.
Yeah,
and a friend of mine's doing a polyamorous wedding. So yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a couple come round at a wedding fair actually that were a throuple. It throws you at first, but it's like, it's then actually having to talk to them in a way that makes them feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
Them talking to you, so it's interesting,
And I think, like, I did a fantastic episode on Beyond the Ceremony with Martin Proudfox, who's a fantastic celebrant, but he's also a drag queen celebrant. So he's Maria Hertz. That's his name. It's so good. But I was talking to him, and he was like, actually, don't be afraid to get it wrong. Like, just try and make sure that you're educating yourself. It's better to try than not try at all. Like, you're better off trying and actually getting it wrong, but then learning how to make it right. And I think that is the thing for all of us as wedding suppliers. We can always be working towards that and, doing a better job of being more inclusive. Definitely.
So if you're out there and you need to change some things in your communication, whatever, just do it, because it makes you look like you say, like you're trying. So
100%. 100%.
Now then, Instagram.
Yes. Oh God.
I'm only asking this really, Laura, because at the end of the show I normally ask, where can people find you?
Yeah, well, good. My new place.
And obviously recently, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Because what Meta and people like this don't realise is actually you've been building up your online presence for what you said, 6 years, haven't you, on Instagram?
6 years, yeah.
And suddenly it's just all gone. And whether it's people are looking at your account now and going, oh, they haven't got many followers or whatever, they can't. I felt that when I hit 1,000 followers on Instagram, like suddenly, like a surge of inquiries coming in, just because you've hit like this, what people seem to think is a threshold on Instagram. But like, it hurts businesses so much, doesn't it? And that's what like Meta and stuff just don't realise. So. Yeah, it's only a suspension though, right? You could get it back, or what?
So basically, like you say, it was 6 years. It was almost 3,000. I think it was like 2,700 followers, something like that. And it's not, it's not about the number, but exactly like you said, what was happening was Instagram was just ticking over nicely in the background. I really do, when I've got the time and the energy, I love Instagram, and I love having fun with reels and, really creating some fun content. I do really enjoy doing it, but it is so much work and it takes me so long to do these things. So basically I last week shared a reel of Harry Styles dancing at the Brits. You know that video of him, and he's like, dancing around and like rocking out like an uncle at a wedding. I basically shared that, and I put the caption, like the writing over the top that said, your guest leaving your ceremony because you had a celebrant, and it sets the vibe for the day. So I thought, it's quite fun. I put it on TikTok as well. It went really well on TikTok. But then put it on Instagram. And then 5 minutes later, I got a notification saying your Facebook account has broken the rules and your account's been suspended. Now, what happened was my Facebook account, my own like personal one, is linked to my Facebook page, my Laura Crockett Celebrant page. My Instagram is linked to that. My own personal Instagram, which is basically like a photo album for the grandparents. I just put all the pictures of the kids on there. That was linked. And our I Do's and Updos podcast page was linked. And because my Facebook account all 5 of these have gone. They've just been suspended. You can't access them. And I think what's happened is, because the clip that I used was a screen recording of Harry at the Brits, I think that's gone against copyright. That's what I'm guessing, because it was literally, I put that on and like 2 minutes later it came off. But because everything was linked to Facebook, it's all just gone. Everything is all gone. And it said it would take just over a day to review. I appealed it straight away, obviously, said it would take just a day to review, and 2 weeks later it's still not back. So I've just set up a new one and thought I've just got to go for it. And I want to be like, oh, whatever, Meta, I don't need you. But it turns out I actually do. So I've had to set up a new one. But yeah, like you say, it's part of our business. It's our shop window kind of thing. Like, how often do you actually, somebody tells you about something and you go and look on Instagram to find that person?
So not suspended on TikTok though?
No, TikTok separate. I still like TikTok. And the video is still on TikTok. It's still there.
It is. It's so annoying though, because some people will post stuff and it doesn't get picked up. And then some people that post exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like it's so inconsistent, I find.
Yeah,
which is so frustrating. Especially your personal account as well. That's just like, oh. Yeah,
that's sad, because it's all the videos of, when we announced that we were pregnant, like all the videos of that were on there, and just loads of different things. But the whole like Instagram thing, I thought, well, I'll start again, and I cannot believe how supportive and kind everyone in the wedding industry is, because I've had so many people not only just sharing my reel to say, look, please give Laura a follow, she's lost everything, but also photographers that I've worked with, like on weddings last year. I spoke to some of them yesterday and they've gone back to last year's posts and added me as collaborators and things like that. And I just think that is so lovely for them to take the time to do that, because we've all got busy lives. So for somebody to stop and take the time to actually go and do that, I'm blown away by how kind everyone is. So I'm now up at like 300 instead of 3,000.
Keep going.
So let's see. But yeah, it's good to be back. I did miss everyone. I was off, but I got so much work done, James. I can't believe how much time I procrastinate on Instagram, because I got a lot of work done that week I was off.
Scrolling, and I think doom scrolling is probably worse on TikTok though, because I don't know.
100%.
But it is interesting, because I did mention this to on the podcast a few weeks ago, but actually had a bride the other day, apart from myself and the videographer, booked everybody on TikTok. So like I'm finding it a little bit as well. Like I normally get about 40% of my bookings through Instagram, and that's gone down at the moment, probably on par with Google. Down to like 15 to 20% now. Really? Not to say that like the number of TikTok well, frog's coming back. Not to say that the TikTok like amount of inquiries are coming in stronger, but it's just seeing that trend of people maybe moving away, or maybe moving to ChatGPT as a source. Source.
Yeah,
stuff as well.
I think so.
Always changing, which is so annoying. But
that's the problem. And I think the day I got suspended, I saw this article that was like, 80% of couples find their suppliers on Instagram, and I was like, go away, just leave me alone. I don't want to know that.
I don't think it's that big now, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think TikTok is the way to be.
And going back to celebrancy, not celibacy, celibate.
Yeah, not celibacy.
Don't get it confused, people at weddings, please.
No, do not.
But like, obviously the next generation coming through, they want things that feel like a lot more personal to them.
Yeah.
So like linking with TikTok, that's probably like where people are positioning themselves couple-wise. Anyway, they're probably more on TikTok than they are on Instagram. It's becoming like the new Facebook, like where all your parents are on.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah, all us old millennials are on Instagram.
Are you finding a lot more couples that are like younger now, like wanting that? We talked about personalization earlier, but do you think that's why celebrity is a success, booming?
Yeah, 100%. People know that actually they've got a choice now.
Yeah.
And it's not just you have to go and have a registrar and have a 3-course sit-down meal and have a cake cutting and then a party and that starts at 7 and finishes at 12. Like, people are mixing it up. People are having their cakes in their drinks reception, which I'm totally here for. I'm loving that. But, people are are doing their wedding their way. They're not doing it how they've been told to do it. They're actually thinking, no, what do we want to do? Do we want to have 30 guests or do we want to have 200? Like, what do we want to do? And I think that's what I'm loving, that it seems to be. And also what I'm really loving, loads of my weddings this year are on weekdays. And I'm absolutely loving that. I think I've only got like a third of them are Saturdays. Most of them are weekdays. And that is just great. I am so here for a weekday wedding. And I think if somebody doesn't love you enough to take the day off work to come to your wedding, they shouldn't be there anyway. So I think weekday
over
weddings.
Half my weddings are weekdays this year as well.
So
good. That's crazy that yours is
it.
like 2/3 are weekdays.
Yeah, 2/3 are weekdays. Yeah. Although 2 of them I didn't realise. Well, no, not technically a weekday, this one, but 2 of them a Sunday and a Monday. And I was like, wow, that's unusual, but great. And then I was like, oh shit, it's Easter Sunday and Easter Monday. I didn't realise. That's why they're weekends. But you know, a lot of them are weekdays. Yeah. And people are going for it. And I think I've had a Tuesday wedding this year, which I've never done before. So yeah, it's really good. I think people are realising that actually they've got that personality. And like you say about TikTok, I've definitely had couples that have found me on TikTok and just rang and said, can I book? And that's it. And I think it's kind of like, it feels like there's maybe a bit of a shift where we used to get, people would Google us, they'd find our website, they'd send an inquiry, you'd have a consultation call, then they'd book. I feel like now it's very different. People get to know you first, and then by the time they want to speak to you, they've pretty much made their mind up. It's just kind of the final stages. And I think that's really nice, but really unnerving for me, because I love that, you know, catch up and answering the questions and being like, you sure I'm the right person for you? Whereas if people have seen all my videos on TikTok, they kind of get an idea of who I am anyway.
What you sound
but to
like,
then just go,
kind of
yeah, I did once have a couple say, oh, we just wanted to call to check that you had a normal voice, because yeah, exactly, because it was on Instagram before I used to share many videos. It was more just like photos or videos with music over, and they were like, yeah, we wanted to actually hear you speaking just to check, because I can imagine that it's your wedding ceremony. You don't want someone with a funny voice doing your wedding ceremony.
Smoker's voice or something like that,
yeah, exactly.
No, I definitely find it's changing, and actually like putting your face out there is becoming more and more important. And like what we said as well, like how we sound, all that kind of stuff. Even on like websites. Oh my god!
Oh no, frog! Just as we're talking about how you sound.
This is not hay fever.
But the thing is, though, I think that is important with photographers. But for you, it's important that they click with you as a vibe, because you're with them all day. Yeah. So I think that is so important, and it definitely is about us as well as what we're selling and what our service is.
No, but the ceremony is probably, besides like obviously having your photos taken and the memories you'll have for a lifetime, the ceremony is ultimately the most important part of the day. And I think if you can have a bit of personalisation and have a bit of fun with it, make guests relax, like, people should definitely consider having this.
100%. Let's face it, that's why you have a wedding day. Yeah. Because you are doing the ceremony. You're having a wedding ceremony. That's why you have a wedding day, to celebrate that. The party comes after. The ceremony is the main bit. It's the main event. And it's the first bit. It's the start of the day. So start it on a high. Like, yeah, just set that vibe for the day. The amount of people that will be buzzing if you have a ceremony that feels like you and reflects you, they'll be like, yeah, this is them all over, and I'm so excited to celebrate the rest of the day with them, because it's, you just walk in and you're like, yeah, that is so them. That couldn't be anyone else's wedding ceremony. That's just their wedding ceremony. Yeah.
I'm going back to your point actually you made a minute ago about people doing things their own way. Cake cutting, I've found that at most of my weddings this year already, doing it all sorts of different times of the day. And a venue might actually like pretty much have like a very fixed schedule, but you can, like, venues, as long as you paid for it, I suppose you can do it as whatever way you want.
Absolutely. And
I'm finding definitely things are like becoming way more like
flexible.
Yeah, and you don't have to stick to the script, which is cool.
Yeah, I love that. Definitely. Yeah, it's really nice seeing people putting their own stamp on it.
Yeah, nice. Right, I know I've got another recording soon, but it's been fantastic having you on the show. And like you said, hopefully I get to come back on I Do
Yes, please do. Especially to come and see the new studio.
New studio.
Instead of the chicken sheds, which we did love. We did love. But yeah, we've definitely had a glow up.
It was definitely very quirky, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said earlier, obviously with your suspension and stuff, where can people find you now on Instagram?
So I am, if you look for Laura Crockett Celebrant, you'll find me. That's where I am on TikTok. My website's lauracrockettcelebrant.com. On Instagram, I've just added an S. So I'm Laura Crockett Celebrant. So you can still find me, but it's just with an S on the end. So just look for Laura Crockett Celebrant on Instagram. But TikTok is still Laura Crockett Celebrant, and my website is lauracrockettcelebrant.com.
Perfect. When's the next wedding coming up then? You said your first one of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, my first. I'm so excited to be back. It was December, my last one. So I did finish at the end of the year, but I am absolutely buzzing. January and February with no weddings has been it's been really nice to get to see all my couples and all that lot, but I am buzzing to be back next week. Yeah, I cannot wait. Kingscote Barn next week.
Oh, I love Kingscote.
So yeah, it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. And yeah, we've got a lot of fun surprises and bits and bobs planned. So yeah, it's going to be a really good one.
Outside or inside?
Inside. Yeah, inside. Because they wanted the nice confetti. And it was only dried lavender outside. So they were like, we're sticking inside. I was like, I love this.
Oh, are they quite restricted on what you can use outside?
I think so, yeah. I think so with the confetti. So that's why we're doing it inside so they can have the fun stuff. But also, I think that is the other thing with the ceremony.
Yeah.
If you choose to have it inside, you kind of take ownership of the decision and you don't have to freak out about the weather. Because don't get me wrong, in the Cotswolds we have got so many beautiful outside spaces, and I do a lot of outside ceremonies. But I do think my couples who go, no, we're going inside for the ceremony and then we'll go out for drinks reception if it's dry, they are a lot more relaxed because they haven't got that final will it, won't it, rain decision on the day. So yeah, so we're inside next week, but I'm really, really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great one.
Kingscote and the staff there are pretty cool. So I'm sure I'll have a lovely day.
Yeah. When's yours, James? Your next one?
Next one's on Friday this week.
Oh, great. Yeah. Oh, enjoy. Where are you going for that one?
I probably should have known that beforehand, right? But it's up in Malmesbury, so up towards your way, I suppose.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. Where is it?
Is it Winkworth?
Oh, nice.
I think it's quite a new one.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That sounds
looks
good.
Stunning.
I've been there.
Looks stunning.
Oh, lovely. I love a new venue. It is exciting.
Cotswolds wedding as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah, awesome. Well, thank you very much, Laura.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll catch up soon, I'm sure. Whether
yes,
at a
and
wedding
good luck.
or on the show.
Yes, 100%. And good luck for the rest of the podcast.
Now, I know, episode 10 already.
Oh, I can't believe it. Wow, it's a big one. It's a milestone.
I will be taking a big break soon, though, I'm sure.
Absolutely. You'll get to wedding season. You'll be like, podcast who?
It's already here.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, but it's great fun. So yeah, thank you for having me. It's been fab.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, see you later. Bye.
So thank you to Laura for coming on the show and talking all things wedding celebrancy. Hope you got a lot out of that. And actually, if you are a couple that are looking to plan your wedding, it is a great option. And I didn't even know that actually just going into a registry office, it costs like 50, 60 quid. So if you are looking to mix up your wedding ceremony a little bit more, it's a valid option for you to have a look at and consider. And obviously Laura is a fantastic wedding celebrant. And actually, I have another wedding celebrant on in a couple of episodes time too. So I look forward to having Eleanor on the show. But in the next episode, I've got Evie Bennett coming onto the show from Vive Music. So we're talking all things wedding singing. But until that next episode, I hope you have a great week. The sun has been coming out a little bit more. Although when this recording comes out, it might be back to snow or sleet or whatever we've been having recently. So until the next episode, see you in the next one.